greet the viewers as we move forward.
Yes. Good morning, viewers. It's very nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, the viewers, we continue with our discussion this morning. Every Saturday, we deliberately come to you with a discussion to analyze the economic policies that affects our country, Uganda, and also we are very much concerned with the new global trend of how countries have made up different formations, and in our case, looking at the East African community. The East African community countries, which includes Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, and of recent Democratic Republic of Congo, not forgetting Southern Sudan. And we do project our discussion beyond those boundaries, referring as well the African continent. For those who are very much familiar with our ideological inclination, we also, all of us, I do believe, we believe in Pan-Africanism. Even beyond East Africa, those who are from the West Africa, those who are from the South Africa, all of us, we are Africans. And at the end of the day, we again go to what we call the blood brotherhood. We remain, all of us, with the blood which is red. Even if you get an English, a Western from the Asia, all of us will remain with the red. The color is just a simple definition. It's a pleasure to be with you. My name is Dr. Joseph Tindiebwa, and I'm with Associate Professor Mugisha David Begumia. He is an Associate Professor at the International University of East Africa, and we are blessed to be with him to go through this discussion. He's an expert in matters of public management science, and we go through this in-depth discussion of the socioeconomic challenges that, of course, we know they exist. And there is always saying, Professor, that so long as a human being exists, you will never fail to have challenges. True. Much as challenges exist, but human beings, we were created to, I go to the theological point of view, to take dominion. We are supposed to be in charge of these challenges. We are supposed to be in control. And it is always a blame to us by God if we fail to control. That means there is something that is missing. We are supposed to be in control and manage a famine. We are supposed to be in control and ensure that we are living peaceful. We manage wars. We are supposed to be in control and we are able to provide education to our children. You not first wait God again to educate your children. God is a very good God, but wants us to take dominion. And we'll be looking into policy issues that are related to this subject matter. And we brought it in that broad perspective so that we are able to not really be limited in discussion. My dream for Africa, let me also speak like how some of our grandfathers that have spoken, that are referred as, fathers of nations, the Nelson Mandela and so forth, is to see a sustainable Africa that is no longer a beggar that doesn't rely on the Western donation. I know you also have a dream, you will also tell us. Professor, as we go forward, when we came up with this discussion and with smart television that drives business, our philosophy is to see our economies, progressing. The other day I was talking to the chairperson of the board of directors of this station, and he was giving me an expression of a progressive economy, especially not only progressive, but it's a world economy, and was referring to America, that you can drive from one state to another as far as you cross the whole of America, and it's up to you when you want to have a few days on the way, a drive. And the dream, as he was inspiring me, say, when are we going to have a such developed infrastructure system where you can drive from here, Kampala, and you reach to Lagos, even when you've not used the air transport. But also, of course, we know there is the railway transport. We also know there is the water transport. But to find that all our systems are functional. And he had a lot he shared with me, it inspired me. And today I said I will not let you remain in your academia, offices there. And I know it is part of your motivation to come and do community service, to share with the public, and also do a service to the community and to be generous enough and maybe inspire the policymakers and the fellow citizens how we can move forward. It's a pleasure to have you, sir.
Thank you very much.
You can take us through your, discussion, especially the package you have for us.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. Again, it's a pleasure to be here. The topic is a pertinent one because we're talking about socio-economic problems. Africa has got a fair share of them. We have unemployment. We have problems of low income. We have problems of lack of proper social security. We have issues of homelessness and crime, slums. All these are issues that touch the East African nations. And today I would love to talk about just a few items because we want to see how we can resolve these challenges. And I would like to, from the beginning, say that we need homegrown solutions because for a long time we have looked to the West and looked elsewhere for solutions to Africa's problems, to East Africa's challenges, especially our socio-economic challenges. So my belief is that if there's going to be a true solution, it's going to come from us, the East Africans ourselves. Looking to these Westerners or outsiders for solutions is doing ourselves a disservice because most of these people have got their own interests and they are not going to put your interests before theirs. So when you call them to come and solve your problems, they are looking on how are we going to capitalize, how are we going to benefit. And at the end of the day, you are moving in circles. You become a dependent nation, a dependent region, a dependent continent. So yes, we have a role as the academia to do community outreach and to speak solutions to our problems. Personally, I would love to say that our governments have done quite a bit in trying to address the socio-economic challenges that we face. We have seen efforts in trying to integrate. For me, integration is a big item because there is power in numbers. Whenever you stand alone, you stand weak. But when you stand with others, then you stand strong. Africa has got a plethora of nations. We've got about 55 nations, and all of them are small and may not be having the capacity to compete globally with nations such as China, such as USA, which has 50 states, a combination of 50 states, European Union, India. These are economic giants. They are giants geopolitically. And if we stand fragmented the way we are, then there is very little we can do. Because the solutions to the problems that are global, problems that emanate from global systems. We have got a skewed global system, economic system especially. Most of the resources which are coming from the developed countries are resources that have originated from developing countries, from Africa. Resources that should have benefited the African first are benefiting these powers that be in the global village. So integration is, in my opinion, my humble opinion, a big solution, because then we have got collective bargaining, then we have got greater markets for our goods, then we are able to bring about the kind of changes that we are looking for. We are not easily intimidated, we are not easily destabilized. So I would definitely support the continuation of integration at the East African level with the East African community, and at the African continental level with the African Union. Yes. The other item that is high for me is human resource.
Before you go to the human resource, Prof,
Yes.
I appreciate for your submission, but we want to look at the realities of our aspiration, especially as indeed you rightly stated, that integration is ideal. Personally, I believe so. And given the opportunity, very soon I will be aspiring to be a member of East Africa Legislative Assembly, representing Uganda, meaning I truly believe in integration.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, while looking at that, the realization of this economic integration, and by the way, the political federation, which is also key in the sense of the East Africa Community Treaty, and with a number of other objectives that lead us to the East African community, and which looks at part of it to have a self-sustainable economy, and which is, an integrated self-sustaining economy, which has been supported by a number of protocols, the common market, the free trade, free movement of goods and services. But now where we would like you to again maybe give us your analytical point of view, the realization of this economic integration since 1962, and leaving all that aside of where it got challenges between 1969 up to 1999, coming back on board 2000. Now celebrating 20 years of the integration. But it still looks to be the factual or the reality of this integration is still staggering. What do you bring in to have been a hindrance, and possibly how we can speed up and mean what we say, since we believe it is a solution to our challenge?
Yes. Okay. I believe the challenges of Africa and East Africa are essentially the same, because we are inheritors. We're inheritors of a colonial legacy, slavery, a legacy of slavery, a legacy of being dominated. And we were fragmented on purpose. It was not accidental. Yes, the powers that be that I've talked about, the Western powers, they start. We all know about the Berlin Conference, and they divided Africa into these small nations, and they called us by different groupings, the Francophones, the Anglophones, and in the case of East Africa, this narrative has not changed. We look at ourselves different from one another. We do not look at us essentially as one people. If you look at the Europeans, they identify as Europeans. You look at the Americans, the Chinese, the Indians, they identify as a people. And in our case, in the case of East African community, the nationalism is very strong. The Tanzanians want to look at themselves first as Tanzanians, which is okay, but it's problematic when it comes to effecting or implementing the protocols that you're talking about. Because people are there, but they're not there. They put in one foot, the other foot is not there. Exactly. And so you find that a country like Uganda wants to go into it wholesale, and then we're expecting everybody else to do the same. We're accepting all the products of these surrounding nations, but they are saying no to our products. We are saying you're most welcome, and we have a spirit of hospitality, but this one is not reciprocated. Yes, so there's need for a mindset change among the people of East Africa, so that they cease to look at themselves as these artificial nations that were created by the Berlin Conference, but look at themselves as Africans and East Africans.
Prof, it's very good that you are bringing out those issues, and it gives us a platform how to go into the in-depth of analysis. I will use a social analogy of where it is believed if you have been in marriage for over 20 years, you are supposed either to really affirm that this marriage will work or it may never work. I'm using that. I'm now 17 years, and I'm not certain it will work.
So, in your marriage?
Yes, 17 years alone it will work.
No, it has already worked. 17 is
it has already worked.
Yes.
So I'm not doubting. So now, back to East African community, with the Sandy Treaty of recent, we're able to bring Southern Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo on board. And meaning that we are expanding our family in terms of the regional boundaries, which makes us to have 7 nations. And what you've brought on board, it is a question of, and it's an unresolved one, of mistrust. 20 years?
Yes.
And one asks, I will not go into the blame game, but you have to go to the realistic point of view. Why? Are we going to continue blaming the colonialists? I will not position, as I use that example again, bring the same. If you are in marriage and maybe you have an external force that you know is the one which is trying to bring some challenges, there is a possibility of sitting together and we say, no, for this one we have resolved, let us cut it off. Let us cut off, maybe this relationship is the one which want to bring us problems. So I wonder, and I come to you as a management scientist, why the mistrust, the objective of East African community in order to realize to come to a resolve of these socio-economic challenges requires to stand on one of the pillars, stand on one of a target, to have to build mutual trust. And mutual trust seems not to have been built up today. The reason why I say so is not to either make ourselves naked, but it's a reality, as we were seeing what was happening between the Democratic Republic of Congo, the president, His Excellency Tshisekedi, right? And also when you are saying no, the president of Rwanda is not, I don't trust that he can send an army to be part of a united force to cap down this political socio-economic challenge.
Exactly.
And also where we've talked on other issues related how we're taking milk, you know, to exporting milk to TZ, to Kenya, and say, no, we are not trusting your product. 20 years, kindly please give us your analytical opinion, and we see this matter coming to the end. Members of parliament have tried to make interventions at a certain point, and almost there was like a shaking during the last year where they couldn't come to resolve the situation. What should we do?
Okay.
What exactly is the instance, the root cause, and maybe we'll build on that after 3 minutes. We'll go for a break, and then we'll build on that.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. I think that we are not actually playing a blame game. We are actually looking at things and dissecting them. We are deciphering the root problem and trying to give a solution. If we do not stare our problem in the face, we will be like the proverbial ostrich that buries its head in the sand.
Exactly.
And pretends that the lion is not there when the lion is going to devour them.
That is true.
So East African nations need to look at themselves. They need to look at their mindsets. They need to look at the history, the way these nations were formed, the things that have happened in these last so many years, 40 years or so, and to bring lasting solutions. So for me, again, I would say that it will take us, the East Africans, to understand the root cause and be able to address this root cause. Yes, so we are not going to stand on superficial solutions, because at the end of the day we come out with great policies. You want to join the East African legislature, the assembly, that's beautiful. Policies can be made, but policies will not be implemented until these root causes are identified and dealt with. Yes, so let's look at ourselves squarely, see our colonial legacy, the legacy of the post-colonialism, the nations that were given independence and had to relate with one another within that context of dependency, within that context of not being ready. Yes. And the things that have emanated as a result.
Thank you so much. Prof, I will go deeper. I want to dig deeper.
Yes.
We'll be unearthing these root causes.
It is well.
And I will not go on the side of one of the president. He ended his term of office. That is the former president of USA. His part of the statements on Africa, they were quite at times disgusting. And I will not go on that side to also allow us to cast ourselves and say how we are, failing here and there. But again, I'm very much concerned. Our speed is quite slow. To solve a problem, a quick problem, it takes long. And we remain in cycles. I will not speak like how Apostle Paul one time was not happy when he was preaching the gospel, and he went to Corinth and people were not catching up with what he wanted. What he believed was right for the faith, and he said, "You foolish Galatians, who bewitched you?" I will not go for that direction. But we must really either agree and take a path that will uplift us from this dungeon, the dungeon of poverty, the dungeon of national debt burdens, the dungeon. We must be ready to identify. If we find a person in the root cause of the problem, maybe we need that person. It is possible. Please stay tuned on Smart 24 TV. We are going for a short break, and we are very much positive that we can join our hands, join our mind together, and provide a platform that can discuss these challenges of Africa. They are not going to be discussed again in Berlin conference. We have brought our Berlin here. And Prof. Biren, they will go deeper, and please, I will not spare anything, and kind also, we speak the truth that will set us free. Thank you. Have a good weekend as we go on together.
Smart 24, driving business.